See?
All right.
Nice.
So what is up?
Ooh, he froze.
We have Jon Cheplak joining us, and I'm joined with two other of the Lab Coat mods, Felix Hung. Felix, what is up, my friend?
Hi, bro.
And Jeff Fargo. Jeff, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome to Lab Coats. My name is Sunit. Jon Cheplak. He's I'm really glad to have Jon on today. Just basically any opportunity I get to speak to Jon, I'm grateful for. Super. I'm trying not to cuss. He's a phenomenal real estate coach and just really knows people is what I would say, right? Coach some of the biggest some of the top teams in the country, top brokers in the country, brokerages in the country, all kinds of stuff. And I thought it would be good for Jon to come on to Lab Coats and try and he always has good content. So I could talk for the next hour, but I'm going to give it to Jon. So go ahead.
Well, you just open. Hey, it's good to be here, man. I'm just visiting. I'll let you guys speed bag me. Actually, what I'll just jump into is I'm like everyone else right now, probably. My middle name is Zoom. And the single most important thing right now, I mean, certainly we're all in this business to make a living. And I think that's what brings the group together. But right now it's our health and our wellness. And before I start out with anything, but I think it all dovetails over to it is, we can't show up in what we do until, we're in this business where we're upgrading software, upgrading our new tools. And I hope that everyone's coming back to upgrading the most important software. And that's the software here, software in your heart, and the software in your body. And I can promise you, and I've shared this with some people that I've worked with over the years, whether it's been speaking and or coaching, and sometimes it's just a happenstance, where I run into someone after speaking and I say, if you just focus on taking care of yourself physically and mentally, and don't even work on your real estate at all, just do as you always have done, but take care of your person, your business will grow. And I've seen people do simply amazing things just from that. And I know it sounds really simple, but now more than ever, because we're in an environment of uncertainty. It's an emotional experience, and it touches each and every one of us. I have a high level of empathy towards it, as I've shared probably so many times, and there's probably people on here that have heard me on different Zooms. I have a high level of empathy because I have a very, very high risk family member, and the boxes for my home that's packed up are sitting in my living room. I was in the middle of a real estate transaction buying. So obviously you know what that outcome was, but I've got a Vegas guy here, and I don't know, Vegas folks may not agree with my opinion on it, but when Vegas changed, my boxes are still here. So I didn't do a real estate transaction. So I come with that. I think the most important thing that I want to support people with is not just because it's our times. I think the times that we're in are calling us to what we really, really need to do. And we're dealing with a highly emotional choice long before this hit us. We will on the other side of this. And, the best way to manage through an emotional experience, such as buying a home or selling a home or leading other people, you got to take care of yourself first. We've heard it forever and ever and ever. And as I look at the highest performers, whether it's a CEO with 100,000 agents that I work with, it is a top team, it's a top agent. There's a commonality. There's this, I think people will see competency, they'll see marketing genius, they'll see lead conversion genius, and they'll identify someone for that. And naturally, we understand because we're in a numbers business. But I feel I'm real fortunate to go layers deeper and look behind the curtain. And that's not their number one skill set. The thing that comes with business, the thing that we identify them as. They have a super, super high level of emotional maturity and emotional intelligence and a constant desire to master that before anything else. And I think that's something that people don't see. And I bring that forward right now because I think that each and every one of us in our personal lives are being called to really take a look at that. You know, we get to see what it's like to have boundaries, you know, and boundaries have their duality. You know, I've always talked about you need to have boundaries, people, places, and things. Well, now you've been putting boundaries, baby. and I think when we're restricted, we're putting boundaries, we get to take a real close look at ourselves. So the first thing that I want to say to anyone, and we could truly end this gathering right now if everyone captured this, is if we left from this Zoom obsessed with working on upgrading my head, upgrading my heart, and upgrading my body, at whatever level works best for you. We all have different, you know, what someone asked me about 3 weeks ago, and they said, John, how do you define elite? Because we've got all my coaching clients were in an elite inner circle. And I said, you know how I define elite? Someone that wakes up every single day and has the commitment and desire to be a little bit better than they were yesterday, because that's really hard to do, because it requires consistency and it requires focus. And that's what defines elite to me. You know, that combined with really working on ourselves right now, I think it's going to, I know it is because I see it right now. The people that are really working on that interpersonal part of themselves right now, it's showing up massively in a time frame when people, you know, maybe shouldn't be doing, not shouldn't be, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but, you know, everything around us tells us that people probably aren't doing, shouldn't be doing as much business as they're doing. We're seeing some, I mean, you've seen from our group some of the things that people are doing right now. Yeah. So that's the first piece that I would share with everyone, is focus on that. So I've got 3 other smarter people here with me. So I'll leave that and I'll just let you guys open up for any questions. How about that? See how I delegate? That's what leadership is.
You must have kids.
Yeah.
I have a 27-year-old daughter and then a 25-year-old son. Yeah, 2 kids. Mm-hmm. But then I have a 3-year-old 3-month-old. January, February, March. Shame on me. She's 4 months old. I have a 4-month-old granddaughter, and
that's great.
Now she is the queen. She is the boss of me and everyone. So,
yeah, I mean, do you hang out in her room for all your Zoom calls like me?
Yeah, no, man. I need to do that. You know, I know what you're doing. You're playing on the emotional thing. It's a good play. You're a good marketer, Sunit. I know what you're doing.
I had a recruiting appointment yesterday holding the new girl, and it went well. It went super well.
Yeah, right. I told Lexi, I said, listen, I'm single, and this isn't me trolling for a girlfriend or a date, but I told her, I said, listen, man, I'm going to be taking the baby shopping through Whole Foods all the time. Do the 4-hour shopping trip. Well, hi.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't.
So, I mean, one thing is, if any of the watchers or the people watching, I think watcher is the wrong term, if you guys have a question, just hit it in the Q&A here on the Zoom, and watch it. Thanks.
Watcher's kind of creepy. So just saying, it's kind of a rapey feel. No offense.
Post it in the Q&A, and guys, I'll let you just go ahead and hit John with all the questions.
John, something that I run North American Title here in Southern Nevada. I do digital strategy nationwide for them, and something I've been preaching to agents is acts of service, acts of selflessness. There's never more has there been a time that we are all being called upon to do that. You know, what are your feelings about the realtors that are out there that are like, well, what's in this for me? How can I leverage the COVID-19 challenge to increase more business versus, looking at a more empathetic stance and, giving more toilet paper away than you're hoarding from Costco on a daily basis, I guess.
One of the things that I share is this is shift or pivot. We hear this shift and pivot. Shift and pivot from a space of integrity, not opportunity. And I'll take you right inside. I've kind of had some fun, and I don't know. I don't know if it's I told you so, but I've been doing a lot of Zooms into franchises and brokerages, and I had a video come through the news feed from 2 years ago, and Felix has sat in the room with me years ago, and you know what? Here's the deal. Everything's changed, but it's all the same. I've been saying the same thing. I'm boring. I'm so boring. And it's too kumbaya. See, it's not a 10X. It's not a sexy message. No, it's not. It's based on human behavior. It's based on principles. And this is a long answer to your short question, but it's where we need to go right now. You know, we talk about nurture. You know what our definition of nurture is in the real estate business? Freaking ambush. And so what I've taken people through is looking at, and think about this, and depending on where people are at, and I know my message isn't for everyone, but I can promise you if you just take this piece back with you, here's the definition of what nurture is. Encourage, care for, and support. What if you dumped all of your cheesy, outdated, antiquated sales dialogue, softball you keep pitching to the consumer that ranks us with like attorneys and used car salespeople? What if you abandoned all of those and you cared for people, you encouraged them and supported them? What if that was your purpose in every call? A couple things would happen. You wouldn't feel like and sound like a robot in hearing this regurgitated, recycled dialogue, and you could show up as yourself. And let me tell you why it's really important. And I was taught this many years ago by my mentor. You know, he told me, he said, you know, you need to dump all your real estate knowledge you have. You've got enough. You actually got too much. He says, what I want you to do is I want you to study everything on human behavior. He says, we're not in a transactional business. We're in the moment creation business. We're an experiential business. And so, you know, some things to really, so I kind of sit here, and by no means am I minimizing. It's why I shared my personal situation. I mean, you know, my real estate transaction didn't go good. I chose to walk and it wasn't cheap. But in the long run, it'll be good. And my daughter's situation is that everyone's being pulled back to the truth, veracity, the absolute truth, this manipulation that's taken place. And we all know it. I think, you know, I don't think agents have been lazy or non-committed. I think agents, human beings, had a compromise with their internal belief systems and where people weren't comfortable. I mean, some people are able to pierce through things, but actually it never felt comfortable for them. You got people right now that are calling out and they're doing purely acts of thinking about someone else first with nothing connected to it. And just for a little example, I don't know. That's why my one client got 1,500 responses to his text message. And I know everyone's getting that sort of response, aren't they? With those cheesy scripts and dialogues. And then I did a webinar, and this is not ego. I'm being this way and demonstrative because I want y'all to get it that are paying attention. Everyone wants to buy. No one wants to be sold. Now look at your language patterns. This is basic, you guys. It's so basic. And so 100%. Lead with the heart, because that's how people choose. We all know, I mean, this is what's hilarious. Everything I'm saying, everyone knows this. Everyone's listening to this knows it. Yet the marketing message that's out there is the opposite. It's based in logic. And one thing I want to point out to people right now is the worst mistake that you can do is get someone to think right now. Because let me take you back to, you know, I've been in business for 32 years in real estate, and most of it's been a series of misadventures. And so I think you get to be a coach or a leader when you've made more mistakes than anyone, but you're willing to admit it. It's kind of like other things in my life, but you know, that's a whole other story. That's a book I wrote, I think. But you know, there's something that was with us 60 days ago, and it was sales skepticism. And it was with us 32 years ago. And it was with us 10 years ago when I was in the business, okay? And what we tried to do is we tried to sell people through it, and we try to objection handle them through it. And it costs a lot of money to do that, because then we have to cast a wider net, which means spend a lot more money, and we're very, very diluted. And really what you need to do with sales skepticism is lower someone's guard. Who's teaching how to lower the guard of the human being? See, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? But no, I've got a new tricky coronavirus objection handler document. And yes, there was one of those going around. It was rather entertaining. And I just smile because it gives me an opportunity to bring forward the truth. So we had sales skepticism, which really people have not even dealt with so much. You try and sell out of it. But then what happened with us, and we'll bring you back to your question, then we had this new thing show up called uncertainty. And so let me see, can you sell someone out of uncertainty? Let me know how that one works out for you. Can you objection handle someone out of uncertainty? Let me know how that one works out for you too. So again, coming back to human, these principles in the human experience, because that's what we're doing. I mean, we're handling something that's ranked up there at the emotionally charged level of move is right there with a divorce and a death in a family. If you look at it, it is proven. Okay, so here's something I want everyone to know right now too. Is right now there's an emotional block in everyone at some level. For some, it's up to here. For some, it's here. Good luck getting someone to make a choice when there's an emotional block. Okay, so what I want you to think about is with uncertainty, what we have to do is we have to reassure people. So we had sales skepticism. It's still here, always was there. And so what do we need to do? We need to lower their guard. How do you lower someone's guard? Oh, that's right. You go back to those 3 things that we were taught in kindergarten sales. Know, like, trust. See, when know, like, trust. See, I can choose know, like, trust, build the relationship that we talk about, okay? Or I can spend a ton of money and hopefully the numbers work out for me. And now I've moved into this place of uncertainty. And with uncertainty, I can use those outdated, antiquated, cheesy dialogues, or what I can do is I can work on reassurance. And so how do we do it? We meet people where they're at. Many people have come to me over the last 4 weeks. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I think some people are paralyzed right now out of fear, and I respect that. Everyone handles situations. It's a trauma. It's a trauma. It's a drama. It's very real, and I respect that. I think there's some people that are paralyzed because of that, and my thoughts are with them. I think there are some people that are paralyzed too because they know that language ain't going to fly. It's not going to fly. I have people reaching out to me. I'll give you guys a great example, and then I'll get into exactly what you'd asked in real life. Great prospecting organization. They've got about 14 or 15 of their agents that do and listen, I'm not making fun of it. I'm saying this is what it is. They do the affirmations, standing up, their headsets, they make a bajillion calls, and they're stoked. And I said, yeah, that ain't gonna fly, man. Here's what you need to do. You need to get on the phone, you need to reach out, and you need to say to people, the first thing you need to do is you need to carry an energy, which is an energy you should have always carried. And it's an energy that I carry in my business. And it's an energy of doing something, expecting nothing. Oh, that's kumbaya. Well, last time I checked with the people that I work with and how they do, it's working out pretty good. And results don't lie. And so I said to this broker owner who's highly competent, runs a good organization, I said, you need to tell your people to pick up the phone and actually double down and make more calls. Because what you did 30 days ago to get a result ain't going to get the same result today. You got to double down. And here's what you need to do. You need to reach out and say, hi, it's Jon Cheplak from ABC. And I just wanted to reach out on a personal level, demonstrative. How are you? How's your family? Is there anything we can do to support you personally at ABC Real Estate? And if they don't bring up real estate, you don't go there and you move on. Now, here's what's pretty interesting. What percentage of people ask about real estate? See, what I've done is but you've got to come sincere and make a deposit in the emotional equity relationship account. We say it again, make deposits in the emotional equity relationship account. See, when people say no to us, really what's happened is there's not enough equity in the account. It's really pretty simple. And, you know, people can push back on me all you want. Okay, good. So you're going to tell me people don't make an emotional decision? All right, I'll argue it with you all day long. The heart chooses, the mind justifies. So what happened was that group of prospecting and that leader who, you know, says, okay, I hire you and pay you, so I'll do it. Kind of odd, but I'll do it. And the good news is I've been through 9/11. I've been through 08, 09. Okay? I mean, you know, as an operator, this isn't theory, right? You know, I say, hey, I've tested it. This isn't theory. We did it in Houston, the 1,300 agent company. And on a Friday call that I do with these 20 plus managers, and by Sunday, they're blowing up with screenshots. Can't believe what's going on. They do this wellness call. Encourage, care for, support, you know, not ambush call. And that group of prospecting agents in another city, their branch manager, the owner, gets on the phone with me, and Sunit actually saw the response, a screenshot of that text message from the leader the next week, and says, this is unbelievable. And I said, what? So all my prospectors, my scripters, my dialoguers, my objection handlers who do really good business came into my office and said, we've been doing it wrong all along. We've been doing it wrong all along. If anyone could follow, you know, you can go back to my videos, and it's not, this isn't just, oh, John, you've got the message for right now. No, I've got the message. It's been constant. You can go back and look at 10 years. Felix sat in a room with me 4 years ago. You know what I tell people? Throw your calls to action in the trash. Throw them in the trash, man. People know what you're doing. Don't insult them. Don't ambush them. And so 100% genuinely reach out from a place of caring, from a place of encouraging, from a place of supporting. Now, the second one, these two, nurture, okay, and then empathy, okay? And empathy is, and Sunit's heard me say it a bunch of times, whether it's at events and working with me. I mean, this isn't just new stuff. And I think not only is it not new stuff, but you see these things thrown around. I don't throw things around. I am obsessed with and neurotic with what I know that works. I'm not trying to create something new and sexy. After 32 years, you kind of figure out what works. I mean, the challenge for entrepreneurs, and I want to support y'all with, is this. Here's the definition of an entrepreneur, okay? You find something that's working and you change it. You guys, you know, I mean, we've just found what's working, right? So now what we're able to do is we're able to now look at empathy and write this definition down. If you leave here and if you take nurture and you take empathy away from this gathering that we have here, and you really internalize these definitions and really work on them. And listen, I'm constantly working on them. I'm an intense dude. I'm really focused. And listen, I got to get reeled back in. But here's the thing, is that when you have the foundation to reel back in instead of a coronavirus objection handler, which is parallel to all the other crap that's out there, you know, when you have the right, see, principles are constant. Skills always change. They're going to adjust, but principles never change. They never, ever change. And so when you then take a look at empathy, which is co-experiencing a feeling. See, we're talking about the emotion that a buyer or a seller has, okay? Empathy is co-experiencing it so that you're relatable. You have common ground. You don't have to sell. So 100% come forward. And that is an act of kindness instead of active selling. What I'll say to you, not only right now, the one thing I want to encourage people is I don't want to build a bridge for the gap of where, you know, people were at. And now for some people it's survival mode. Some people weren't prepared for this. And I'm not saying you're good or bad. And so it's just get me through it. What I want to encourage people is what's really cool is this is what's going to more than get you through, because, that was, I don't know, anyone's got a big database. If you're getting 1,500 responses back to the text message, in an hour or two, and you got to turn the thing off. And Suneet knows that this is valid too, because Suneet sits in the same inner circle of the person that sent this out. Or the other one from yesterday, it's the same thing, you guys. And here's all we're doing. We're doing it in recruiting, and we're doing it with the consumer. And the question's this: checking in on a personal level. How are you doing in these changing times? How is your family? Can we support you personally? Did a webinar yesterday for a 150 agent company. And then this one comes 30 minutes later. Oh, what's that say? Oh, I did what Jon said and used reach to send text. I have 22 responses already. I mean, you guys, we need to, don't do it just because it works. See, the challenge that we have is we can gain knowledge, behavior, and strategies and tactics, but then we've got to know the how-to, but then it's got to be rooted in us. It's got to be rooted in us to carry it forward. And I'll tell you, that's the difference between agents that have business that's a sine wave. That's the difference between agents right now that are frantic and, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say, you're paralyzed. What do you mean you don't know what to say? Just ask someone this: how you feeling? So it's meeting people where they're at. Right now, people are uncertain. One thing that's always been, people want to be heard. What we've got to do is understand no one's going to make a decision with an emotional block. So it is coming forward, meeting people where they're at, entering the conversation going on in their head, nurturing the truth for them that I shared, having empathy, asking, not telling. Seek first to understand, then be understood. Oh, wow, that was a new one too. Oh, no, it's not. The best sales book ever written that wasn't a sales book. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and How People Interact. Oh, that's right. That's what we're doing. And ultimately, people will come to their own choice, the internal decisioning process. And the internal decisioning process, that's more critical today than it's ever been. Because I'll tell you what, when someone self-discovers and they have an internal decision they discover, they're going to defend it and they're going to brag about it to other people. In the external decisioning process, where someone has sold me and someone has manipulated even in some cases, but just even sold me, they're more likely to go out and ask someone else's opinion and be tilted by someone else's opinion. So, what I'm sharing is, yeah, we need to come forward from a place of caring and compassion, but then watch this. Weren't we always supposed to? Right? So that's what we see, and it's working marvelously. I've got another just to share with you, because it's this, this working through this energy of people. We've got another one. I'm getting endless messages from top performers, top agents, and top teams. They come in. It's not even people I work with. And the one was, I took my own initiative to put a Zoom together for our company. My broker hasn't done a thing. And this person works for a real big brokerage with a good leader, a real good leader. But that leader is stuck in the old antiquated stuff. In times like this, see, this is what agents are thinking from the recruiting thing. And what you'll notice is just across the board. In times like this, you really see the character of someone. And unfortunately, I will now have to be moving offices.
Real talk.
People do, you remember that other one? People don't care that you know until they know that you care. Oh, that's right. That's about 100 years old. But let me think of a new script and way to do things so you'll buy my shit from me. So there you go. Ask me one question and I'll just roll with it, man. I don't know if I directly answered it, but I think it's all in there. That's what you got to lead with.
I think that realtors in general just get hammered with, hey, here's my CRM. Hey, here's shiny ball. Hey, squirrel. It's gigabytes of crap on a daily basis that come in. And, if there's any silver lining to this thing, it has forced everyone to slow down and back to basics. And you are, with your family now for all day. I'm here with my wife, my 3 kids, my mom lives with us, and her dog. And we're locked in, man, and we can't go anywhere unless it's Costco for prescriptions, and that's it. So I think that there's been a real regression back to our core values of who we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing as people. And it forces us to slow down, whether we like it or not. And I think that that is the greatest thing that could happen to us as a culture right now. That it's just breathe. We'll be okay, just breathe, and that's it.
So, John, we have thousands and thousands of tens of thousands of people who will watch this, I'm sure. And like something real is, what about the agents out there who need to make money next month? Because that's going to be a lot, right? We all know that's most.
Well, 69% of all Americans have less than 1,000 buckaroos in the bank.
Yeah, scary.
So some of them might be real estate agents. I would absolutely double. I mean, I think I've teased a bunch of my clients as I'm talking to them about working with their agents. I said, if I got all excited and wanted to come to Calgary or Toronto or New York or Atlanta or wherever, Sacramento, I don't know. As long as I could have a place up in Tahoe, Sunit, I'm coming, man.
Let's do it, bro.
Yeah, right. I'd say give me the 30-minute orientation, onboarding, enough so that I don't get in trouble or cause any trouble, and give me a headset and get me on the phones. People are answering the phones. The biggest complaint right now that I'm hearing from the agent populations back, because I work with leaders, is they can't get people off the damn phone. People are answering. I'm like, oh, isn't that what you always wanted to do, is have them talk to you? Like what happened to that building relationship thing? I would be on the phones, and I would be making what I call wellness calls. How are you? How's your family? Is doing through these changing times? Is there anything we do to support you personally? And then most of them are going to ask you. And here's what's beautiful. They're going to ask you, tell me about the real estate market. And you know what you do? You go right to the truth, and it's framework. And this isn't a script; it's true framework. But with the framework, see, you insert the truth. And the truth is, something? Understandably, some people are pausing. You go right to the red flag. I had someone say to me, I don't want to put that. Oh, okay. Well, that which you avoid to bring up that's obvious makes people think you're a liar. And actually, you lower the sales guard of people. You lower the sales skepticism of people when you go right to the one thing that could actually hold them back. It's another simple principle. And so, understandably, some people are pausing if that's the case in your marketplace. Some people are still buying, some are selling, some are moving in their homes. There's people that are still refinancing because they missed that opportunity. They just want to lower their payment. There's some pulling a little money out right now just to be safe. And there's some pulling chunk out because they think that maybe there's going to be investment opportunity. But you want to know what's interesting in my 31 years? People are still making choices the same way they always did. There's always going to be a circumstance, but they choose based on their needs. There was 08, 09. That was a circumstance. People still chose based on needs. There was 9/11. It was a circumstance. People chose based on their needs. And here we are today. It's proven. So based on what I shared with you, how are you feeling about the real estate market? See, the real estate agent's going to say, what do you think? And you're dead. People aren't thinking right now, they're feeling. And you know what? When it comes to a real estate transaction or conversation, it's a feeling. Unless you're doing a cap rate on a freaking commercial property, but that's a different deal. We're talking about, where people are going to live. So it's, it's pretty simple, man. I would be on the phones. If I was on a team, I would ask the team leader to give me the crappiest leads on the planet that no one's talked to. It's amazing, mental health is something. And again, people, why are you talking about this? Because we work with humans. Know your avatar. Your avatar is a human, okay? We know that mental health is a major challenge in our country. It's pushed down. It's not cool to talk about. Well, it's a real issue, and now people are secluded. That only impacts it at a greater level. And I mean reaching out to people from a place of integrity, not opportunistic. Okay, expected nothing. and you know, I have an unfair advantage. You know, I was brought to my knees in my personal life because of personal challenges I had. And so what's neat is I was forced to learn this. You know what I mean? It was, hey, I don't have much. You know, I can't expect anything from you. I don't have much to offer, but can I help you? I had to go find people that had bigger problems than me to help. And there weren't that many because my problems were big. But what I found in that is it's proven in life and proven in business. Perfect by no means, my goodness. But I just know that those principles stand true. Show up, you know what? You need to show up 2 hours earlier than you did. And you need to go home 2 hours later. I'm sorry, you do. Well, that compromises what you said about taking care of yourself. No, it doesn't. Because I didn't say you had to do a 2-hour CrossFit workout in your courtyard out here. I'm saying do something physically active to make your body better. Do something that's for your heart, your spirit, whatever it may be, and do something for your head. But you've got to show up 2 hours earlier, leave 2 hours later. Double down may not be enough. You may have to triple down. I don't know. But that's what I would do if I was an agent.
Hey, John, real quick. We actually met this week 4 years ago, brother.
No way.
Yeah, Scottsdale. That memory came up on my Facebook feed. You know, I've had a lot of coaching clients ask me this question, and I really wanted to ask you for your answer on this. There's a lot of people shut down right now, just like you mentioned. This is shocking. They're having anxiety and panic over this. So there's a group that chooses to shut down and they're choosing not to move forward. They're frozen, just like you said. But there's also a group that is frozen, but they want to move forward. So how would you talk to that group, and how would you help them to move forward and to start doing what they need to do to move forward?
Sure. And if I'm hearing the question right, I assess each person differently, because there's a lot of people will ask, you know, and I want to coach you to coach the audience. Always ask the right questions. A lot of people say, okay, you know, like budgeting, or where should I cut back, or where shouldn't I? What activities should I do? What should I do or not do? And I think that everything is case by case. You know, from a financial standpoint, first of all, the first place I go with everyone is I say this is go to the absolute worst. This is the number one thing I do. I got on the phone with him. I said, you know, and it's like, you know, I tell people this, you know, we don't have a problem here. The freaking kitchen's on fire, man. I mean, the kitchen's on fire, folks. Shit hit the fan. And you can stand in the kitchen and let the house burn down around you, man. Or you can do something. And so, you know, Sadiq didn't call me out of desperation. I lead out in front to my people. He's got a good business going. I see inside his business. He's doing well. He's fine. But I also, when I talk to my clients, I say, let's be responsible. I say, well, first thing I need you to do is this. What? Tell me the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
That's what I do with my client, right? What's the absolute worst? And I've said it to people, they go, why would you start that? I had a broker call me Sunday. He'd say, so the first thing is, first of all, I need you to write down the worst case scenario. That's going to help you with the uncertainty, because I want to get some certainty in what the worst case scenario is. Whoa, that kind of makes sense. Because otherwise we create we get delusional of all these things. The next thing I tell people is this: is focus on what you have, not what you don't have or what you might lose. Focus on what you have. See, I've got to get their mindset right. Because what I know is underneath it, it's this fear thing paralyzes people. So worst case scenario, and someone had said to me, oh, wow, my wife and I and my daughter and my dog, you know, we'd probably move into an apartment. And this person has great cash reserves and runs a good business, but that's the worst case scenario. And maybe we go down to one car, and how would things be? I think we'd be okay. Awesome. Next. Number two, focus on what you do have. And I don't care how little it is. There was a time in that bike sits in my courtyard where what I had was my bicycle 11 years ago. That's what I had. I focused on my bicycle. It's what I had, man. If I spent time focusing on what I don't have, if I spent time on focusing on the escrows that I don't have that I may have had because the cancellations just started coming in, if I focus on what I might lose, I am choosing between the two emotions, and there's only two. There's fear and there's love. And with fear is scarcity. And last time I checked, scarcity don't make a lot of money. Love comes from a place of abundance. So I would do that personal inventory there. The next thing that I would do if I'm paralyzed is I would go to a leader. And there's a million great coaches, branch managers or team leaders. I would go to your leader or find someone. If you're a leader and you're stuck, and that's okay. I know some folks are. Go find someone who is not stuck. Here's the big thing that gets in the way right now. What I've learned in watching, what people forget about, people don't know, the dot-com bubble. That was a real thing. Okay. 99, 2002, 9/11 was a real thing. Okay. 08, 09 was a real thing. My daughter says I need Botox, and I explain why, because I went through those years and I survived, I made it through. But that Botox story, I got to get a new one because I've been using that one for a long time. Sunit's heard it 300 times. So I got that story. But it's true. It was kind of funny. We're in my pickup truck. I drive a pickup truck. Dad, you need Botox. But what needs to happen is you need to get into urgency. You need to get into urgency, not panic. And you need to, and I tell people, you need to leave this call writing down the words empathy, writing down the words nurture, and looking at them. You need to write down the word uncertainty and understand it. And then look at the solution. You need to look at sales skepticism, understand it, look at the solution. Now you need to see the freaking kitchen's on fire, number one. Number two, the next step that I would take is looking for guidance from others, because you've got three choices. You can do nothing, you can do it alone, or you can do it with others. Last time I checked, doing it with others, I love the self-made story. Oh, you're self-made, huh? You're isolated out in the cave and did it all by yourself. Knock yourself out, odd shot, we hear this all the time. Look for a leader, look for someone that you can either gain a guidance from. Sometimes it's not the information you need. Sometimes it's just that borrowed belief of the energy of that person and seeing them go through it with the right spirit and seeing them get results. Boundaries. You see, because it's not about what do I need to do. It's about what do I need to surrender to first. Because if you're stuck, you're in fear, you've got to surrender and let go of some things that are holding you back. So it's now then taking a look at around you. We talked about the people and the things that you do. What are the things now in my life that will support me to get through this? And what are the things that are not going to support me? And then that simplest plan of action. And, like I said earlier, you can have knowledge, you can get new behavior, you can get new skills, but until you let go of something, which might be the way that you used to interact with people, okay? Or it might have been your lack of consistency and commitment, knowledge, behavior, tools, skill sets, none of that stuff matters until you surrender to the things of the past. And then the ultimate piece to surrender to is another cliche we've heard: attached to the process, detached from the outcome. And it's the process of serving people to create the experience that's best for them.
Do you see some of these, the comments that people are saying? Where is this one? I found one, John, you're gonna love it. Someone said, this is the best coaching call I've ever been on.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. Bring back John more often. Good stuff, especially for the times. Right.
There was one on here. Laura asked, who was John's mentor?
Well, so I've got Ed Kraftchow from an operations. He was the president, CEO. He was CEO of Prudential, California, Nevada, Texas. So my last, not a theorist, my last real job, I was the general manager for Prudential, California, Nevada, Texas. We were a multi-state, multi-office organization. So he was. Another contributor was Lynn Wardley, who was another 1,000+ agent brokerage. And then closely though, when he led me into this path of personal development, because I had my first seminar was 32 years ago. Mike Ferry said knock doors and cold calls. So I bought rain gear, and I was a 21-year-old kid and said, okay, let's knock on doors. And it certainly, there's so many contributions there, but I would say that the ultimate contributions, because I think here's what I know, and y'all know this sitting in rooms, there comes a point you're going to get stuck in your business, and it's not scaling, it's scaling your person, period. It's the number one ROI. Oh, I'm going to scale. Go ahead, knock yourself out. Won't matter. You will continue to implode until you really work on the interpersonal stuff in your deepest of water. So what I would suggest, and every one of my clients that I share this with, go through it, is I don't read books to get through them. I read books for what I can get out of them. And so I just always go back to my mainstays. Gary Zukav, who I spent a week on a mountaintop with many years ago, and have continued to revisit his books, Heart of the Soul, Seed of the Soul, Mind of the Soul. He's interviewed on Oprah Winfrey more than anyone. Debbie Ford, who I worked with personally before she passed away, The Shadow Effect. And then studied Eckhart Tolle and Don Miguel Ruiz, just the basics. But the difference is I didn't read the book to tell you I read the book and posted on Facebook. I read the book, I internalized the book, I went back and revisited the book. I look where I take inventory and look at where I am mastering the behavior and I'm not. And Debbie Ford, who I sat with in New York City before she passed away 8 years ago, sat in the front row, and Debbie Ford's still in my headphone every single day. And that's the thing I want you guys to get is y'all know a lot, but you don't know how. Y'all know a lot, but you don't know how. And the knowing how is everything. And you can't know how until you really internalize it and focus on your mastery.
Yeah.
So a lot of mentors. How about that? And the boss, though, someone asked me about who holds me accountable. Lexi Cheplak, my daughter.
Until the baby starts to talk, until Finn can talk, right?
Yeah. There was a question. I like this one because this is one I like to hit head on. Where was it? It was, I had some sellers pull back and they are waiting until this passes, but shouldn't we at least have a conversation about the fact in quarantine lists we're going to be selling against a backdrop of 20 to 32%? Do you know that? How about if you stay really close to your people and let them know? See, that's, and again, I'm not attacking, I'm just sharing with you what the truth is. People smell a salesman more than ever. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I can't predict the future. If you look at the videos that my clients do, people are asking me, what's the real estate marketing do? Well, first thing I can't do is I don't have a crystal ball. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay really, really close and keep you updated so that you can make an informed decision with surety and peace of mind when you're ready.
Gold.
Oh, but you need to close them. Knock yourself out, man. Go for it. Last time I checked, this style's working out pretty good for a lot of people. And again, I don't, I mean, there's no happy medium. I know with me, either people think I'm a dick or they like me. Maybe they don't like me. I don't know. But I do it. I just hope that you get it. One of the things that my mentor Ed Kraftchow, who impacted me the most, he says, John, he says, sometimes support doesn't look and feel like support. It's kind of like the world says, I want the truth. You tell them the truth, go, you're a dick. Well, you wanted the truth. And that's where I come back to is if we wake up in the relentless pursuit, the truth is, if I am of counsel and I'm not ambushing with commission breath, Hey, rates could drop. Hey, no shit, they could drop. Hey, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen in the marketplace. There's things we can look back historically. But here's what I do know. What I do know is I'm going to get you the information you want, when you want it, how you want it, so that when you're ready, you can make an informed decision. How's that sound? Sounds good. So what's the best way I could do that for you? I mean, see, sales skepticism. You don't have sales skepticism, though. Oh, you don't? Go to the shoe store. When the dude approaches you, tell me what you say. Go walk on a car lot. When the car salesman approaches you, tell me what you're going to say to him. Oh, that's right. You have a script. You know what your script is? I'm just looking. By the way, the person that you're talking to is just looking to. That's sales skepticism. Okay. So, I'll take you all back to the principles. And this is a marketing principle, but it's a human interaction principle. We talk about seek first to understand. And if you look at the best marketers, what the best marketers know is this: meet people where they're at. Marketing 101. Number 2, enter the conversation going on in their head. Let me give you an example. Everyone's a recruiter. Everyone's a recruiter. I recruit, I'm not going to I don't want anything to ever feel like a plug. I recruit people to work with me. I'll just say it that way, okay? The people I work with recruit agents to work with them, okay? I mean, they just do. And then agents, they're recruiting buyers and sellers. What we're doing is we're enrolling people. We're enrolling people to an experience of us. People aren't buying a home, by the way. That's where people got it wrong too. They're buying the experience that they're going to have in that home.
True.
But yet we talk about 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. People choose logic and then their heart no, sorry. They choose with emotion. So when we come into marketing, what we need to do is marketing is in relationship. Meet people where they're at, enter the conversation going on in their head. Let's talk about recruiting. I love it. We give you 37 postcards on a crescent moon and a low tide, and we'll give you a double-decker burger if you get a 7% listing. I mean, the stupidest shit on earth. It's a joke. I mean, and really, here's what I want you to think about. And I want, if you're an agent, if you're a leader, say what you want. I know it's true. It's worked. This has only added billions in sales volume to companies. Billions. Okay? So if you're an agent, though, it's the same thing, too. It's meeting people where they're at. Well, and then answering the question that's going on that keeps them up at night. Well, the question that goes on in a real estate agent's head at night is not, I wonder who's got the best profit share today. I wonder who's going to give me a deal and a sign-on bonus. No, a real estate agent goes to bed at night wondering how they're going to get price reductions, how they're going to get their leads to convert, what's the best software CRM program, okay? So why not meet them where they're at and give them value based on that and answer their questions? See, we're in the problem solution business as a leader. And so to do that, you got to know where people are at, enter the conversation going on in their head, make deposits in the business relationship and emotional relationship equity account. Last time I checked, things turned out pretty good.
We have a question from Facebook Live from Susie. And I think we may have gone over this, but I'll just bring it up again, Jon. What should I be focusing on during this time to get out of the messy middle and break through?
Define the messy middle. I'm going to make some assumptions, but I'm watching your comments come up, so I don't want to just go too random. So the number one thing to do to break through is and keep these. See, don't leave with strategy and tactic. Leave with principles, and then you can just show up as yourself. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to know that everything big is built on the back of micro commitments. What's the smallest, most impactful thing you can do right now that will move you forward personally and professionally? The smallest. Because what we need to do, see, the big mistake too, and listen, Simon Simonek's a lot wealthier than me, smarter and all that. But you know what? The big why is another trap like the 10X. And we see how the 10X thing's working out right now too. I mean, anyways, I digress, okay? Overwhelm. You know, you need a bigger, like the leader says, you need a bigger goal. Okay, why not? You know what? You know the two biggest reasons people don't take action? See, I'm in high performance business. I work with pro athletes. We're CEOs outside of our business. You know the biggest reason people don't take action? Fear and overwhelm. So let's tell them they needed a bigger why. Now that made a lot of sense too, didn't it? I mean, see, we have been so freaking manipulated and sold on crap that goes totally against how our human behavior can work for us and or against us. So what I would say, the first thing, what are the tiny hinges that can swing the big doors? You know, the larger the responsibility of someone I work with based on their job, how many people work on, the smaller the thing is that we work on. It's pretty interesting. So I would say, what is the one small thing? Now here's the other one. Here's another good old quote. Minimize to maximize. Less is more. Before you get out of the messy middle, because it sounds like you're just trying to grow, maybe you've been stuck is what I'm guessing. Biggest reason people don't take action. It's like I said earlier, you got to surrender some things, and it might be people. It might be places you go or, things you do. Okay. So the first thing to do is you can't allow space to come in, creativity to come in, vision to go wider until you eliminate and surrender and give up the things. And maybe it's been and I'm not picking on you personally, you asked, maybe it's been your consistency or lack thereof. Maybe it's been some skill sets that you haven't worked on that you need to work on. Maybe it's been your fear of maybe doing video or something. You got to surrender. You got to full-blown surrender. And so that's the simplest way, a strategy or a tactic. Yeah, get out of my own doggone way. And I'm not picking on you. I'm telling you, it's with me too. I mean, I'm always looking at what can I break through. That's how we get out of the messy middle. What's one little thing? I always ask people, what's one thing? What's the one thing? And I know in my life, I look at the biggest movement that's happened for me. It's always been one little thing. But get that big old why and let fear and overwhelm take over and wonder why you're stuck, right? You need a bigger goal. I'm not even hitting the minimum. So why don't you set me up for more failure? That's really makes sense. One of the things I'll share with people right now, and especially, and again, I hope I come with cheer and fun to it, but this is serious. And I get it's really serious. Maybe what it takes right now, see, because here's the equation in high performance and I think in our self-esteem and just feeling good so we can get moving forward, because we've been thrown off and maybe even stuck right now. And here's what's beautiful. Here's why I believe in a micro commitment, because if you can declare a micro commitment to someone, and you can hit it. And I'm talking about, I'll even tell people, 50 calls a day is the minimum they're supposed to do. They're not hitting. I'll say, I want you to do 25. Why 25? Because I want you to win. Let's get a win. So look for a win. Because here's the thing. If I can get a commitment, make a commitment, someone holds me accountable and checks in, okay? What it's also going to serve for me is we all want to be accepted. So now I'm working in Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, we all want to feel like we belong, all right? And so now I've kept the commitment of that leader or that friend that held me accountable. And then what it did is it gave me some confidence. And then when I got confidence, I got momentum. And momentum is wicked in a good way. Got another one?
That's it, man.
Yeah, cool.
So,
Holy shit, we've been here an hour?
Yeah. Shocker. What are some final thoughts you have for all our listeners, and not watchers, all our viewers?
Yeah. Viewers, watchers. I would say this. It's okay right now to be afraid. Don't stay there. It's okay right now to be uncertain. Don't stay there. There's two economies. There's the economy, right? now that's outside of us that has the virus, the circumstance, and there's the financial situation. You have no control over it. And there's a second economy, and it's your actions, period. I'm betting on my actions. I'm going to bet on me. And what I would say, it's easy for me to say it's okay to have fear. It's okay to have uncertainty. Don't stay there. I was taught this at the lowest moment in my life. We can always reach up. Don't let your ego get in the way. See, people think ego is this person that comes in the room that's loud and brags about stuff. No. I think there's a more harmful ego that we have, and it's that ego of not being able to be humble and ask for help. And one of the things that I want to test each of you to do is I want you to think about someone that you know could help you, that you're intimidated by. And one of the things that I've learned is nothing would make them feel better. And I'll tell you what's interesting, I've learned with working with elite performers, and many times people are intimidated by them, they just relish for that moment. It's because what's happened for them is they can get bored sometimes. Yeah, they keep growing. But the thing that fulfills them, that really keeps them going, is the giving back. So reach up. But here's the other thing too that I'm going to tell you, because you're someone may be stuck here right now, or maybe, in a valley and you have your peaks, What I learned is this, is no matter how low I was, someone was lower, go find them and help them. Because what happens when we do that is that unconsciously, psychologically, it's really getting down. The guys are going to go, man, this guy's a kumbaya. The reason we get down is we just don't have a love for ourselves. We're in a fear. We've got two places we sit within ourselves. And so when we go show love, which is support is love, right? Okay. Selfish is fear. They all fall under those two. So when you take the time and you go find someone to support, which is expressing love, unconsciously you're going to feel a greater love for yourself and build up your confidence because you feel good. It's not just, I don't want people to just think, oh, I feel good because I helped someone. No, listen, you release hormones in your body that will carry you forward. So talk to more people than you ever have before. Now, I will give you one tactic. Man, you best be on video. 50% video and Facebook. Traffic's up 50%, ad cost is down 40%. Come on. And the audiences, like, listen, I got news for you. The airlines, it's unfortunate, but the airlines, car dealer, all that crap that was going through the news feed, they're not spending ad dollars. And if you do it right, if you listen to my man Felix, who was a freaking organic Facebook freaking genie, you could freaking make a shit ton of money organically and not spend any. But I just say at this point, pour some gas on that fire. The eyeballs are freaking cheap, but get your message right. And Felix does that really, really well. He gets that you must have a message to market match. One other piece, your offer today, your offer yesterday sucks. It's gone. And your message from yesterday, it's gone. Because yesterday people were buying things on aspiration. See, this is what I'm going to leave you with. And this is where the elite know to go, and very few did. And these are the things you need to think about. They were aspirational purchases, a big percentage of them. Now purchases are going to be on needs. Do you know the difference in your message now?
Good stuff. Dude, Jon, so I'm sure everybody is lining up to want to connect with you after watching this if they hadn't already been in that line. How do people reach you or get more information about working with you?
Cheplak Live, cheplaklive.com, or Cheplak Live Instagram, or Jon Cheplak on my personal page. I spend probably more time on my personal Facebook page. You'll probably unfriend me right away after about 2 days because I'm a posting bandit. I'm just kidding. Yeah, just come hang out with me on my personal Facebook page. If you like baby pictures, I got a granddaughter, so, just be ready.
Cool, guys. Well, this was awesome. And even though we talk nearly every day, I still get something every time. So I jump at the opportunity to hang out with you always, bro. Felix, Jeff, nice to see you guys. And, you know, thanks for joining us today. And I really just hope that all the agents out there who viewed this got something good out of it. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.